The objective of this video is to create a compound vertical wall type by splitting a layer into separate regions to create a brick soldier course. We will see how to split and merge layers to create regions within the wall and how to assign materials to individual regions. We will also see how to unlock individual layers within the wall to enable them to extend separately to the rest of the wall structure. I have the exercise file, Vertical Compound Walls, open. And looking at the 3D view, we can see the external walls that we will be editing. We'll change the brick material for a masonry stone and then add a brick soldier course between the floor levels around 12 feet from the bottom of the walls. So we'll select one of the walls, and then from the top of the properties palette we'll choose Edit Type to access the wall's type properties. As we're going to change the main material, we shall rename the wall first. So at the top of the type properties, choose Rename, and then we'll enter the name Exterior Stone with Brick Soldier on Metal Stud. And then we'll click OK to accept the new name. Now we need to edit the assembly of the wall, so to do this we'll click Edit from the type parameters next to the structure parameter. And this will open up the Edit Assembly settings, and we can see the layers that make up the wall. They're reflected in the preview, and it's the top layer here, layer 1, that we will change the material of. So we'll click on Masonry Brick and then open the material browser from the ellipses button. And then from the project materials list, we'll choose Masonry Stone and click OK to assign this onto layer 1. And we can see that that's now updated in the preview window. And now we need to create the brick soldier course within layer 1. And to do this, we need to use the Modify Vertical Structure tools, which are currently greyed out and not available to us. And the reason being is the preview is currently in a floor plan, so from beneath the preview, we'll choose the section view, and then we can see the preview window update to a section, and those Modify Vertical Structure tools are alive and available to us now. It can be useful to manipulate the preview window. So from the top right corner of the Edit Assembly, we can set the sample height to say 10 feet, and we'll see this update with the wall in the preview. And then from the right click menu, we can access Zoom tool, so we'll choose Zoom to Fit to now fill the preview window with our wall. Our soldier course is actually going to be a bit taller than 10 feet, so let's set that back to 15 feet. And then from the navigation bar, we can also access the same Zoom tools and choose Zoom to Fit. And then we're ready to start using some of those Modify Vertical Structure tools to create our soldier course. So first one we'll use is Split Region, so let's click on that to enable it. And now as we go over the preview window, we can see our cursor has changed to look like a knife. And as we move across the assembly there, we can see the edges of the layers highlighting, and if we then click, it will add a split line into that highlighted layer and split it into two separate regions. We could add more split lines to create multiple regions. We've added this split line into the metal stud layer, and we can see that reflected on the thickness of the layer list there. So actually, to remove that, we'll click Merge Regions, and this will allow us to go over the preview and click on the split line itself, which will then delete it and merge those regions back into one and create one layer. So now we need to add the split lines to create our brick soldier course, which is in layer 1 up here. And it's going to be near the top of the wall, 12 feet approximately from the bottom. So we'll click on Split Region to enable that, and making sure we're on layer 1, we'll click to create the first split line somewhere near the top of the wall. And then we'll add a second split line above this one, so that we've got 3 regions. The middle one will become our brick soldier course. So now we want to edit the dimensions to place it accurately, and to do this we need to click Modify from the Modify Vertical Structure tools to enable us to select the split line, and then we can come and edit the dimensions. So let's set this to 12 feet, and then we'll select the upper split line for the top of the soldier course, and we'll set this to be 8 inches, so that we've got an 8-inch soldier course that starts 12 feet from the bottom of the wall. So now we'll click on Modify to disable it. And we need to create the material for the Brick Soldier course. And to do this, we'll insert a new layer into the layer list. So we'll click Insert, and we'll add a new layer at the top of the list. We'll change its function to match the masonry stone, so Finish 1. Then we'll click by category and open the material browser from the ellipsis button. And find the Masonry Brick Soldier course in the list of materials and click OK to assign that into our new layer. We won't change the thickness as we're going to assign it. So from the Modify Vertical Structure tools, click Assign Layers. And now as we go over the preview window, we can see it highlight different regions. And once the Brick Soldier course region is highlighted, we can click to assign that layer and that material into that region. So click Assign Layers to switch it off. And now we'll choose another layer in the list so that we can see in the preview window where we've assigned in the Brick Soldier course material to the region that we created with the Split Region tool. So that finishes creating the Brick Soldier course, and we'll click OK to save these changes. Then we'll click OK again to apply these changes to the model. And now we can see the external walls have updated. We can see the masonry stone material along with the Brick Soldier course applied around all of the external walls. Now, looking at the projecting walls at the rear of the building, we can see that they align to the underside of the roof, as shown in the image here. And ideally, we would like the finish layers to continue up in front of the roof to give us a cleaner junction. We can achieve this by unlocking the top of the finish layers in the wall type so that they can extend separately to the rest of the wall. So in order to do this, with one of the walls selected, we'll click Edit Type from the top of the properties. And then we need to access the assembly again, so we'll choose Edit next to the structure parameter. And we can see we have the finish layers here, and our preview is still in section view, so we'll choose Zoom in Region to zoom into the very top of the wall. And it's these three layers here that we need to extend up in front separate to the main structure of the wall. So from the Modify Vertical Structure, we'll click Modify, and now we can click the top edge of those layers, at which point we'll be presented with a padlock which we can then click to unlock the edge of those layers. So let's repeat this for the other two layers here. Clicking on the top edge and unlocking the padlock, and that means that these will now be able to extend separately to the main structure of the wall. So now click Modify to disable it, and we'll click OK to save these changes, and OK again to apply these to the wall. Now as we zoom in, we can see we have two drag controls at the top of the wall here, and if we drag the outer one, just the finishes are extended. And looking in the properties, we can see the unconnected height, and below that we have a top extension distance parameter for the layers that we've unlocked, which is just those finishes in front of the wall. So let's select the roof, and we can see that this is the generic 12-inch roof type, and looking in its properties we can see the thickness is 1 foot thick. So now we'll select the walls that we want to extend in front of the roof, so using the control key we can multiple select those walls. And then in the properties we can see the top extension distance currently varies because of the different walls we have selected, so we'll set them all to be 1 foot. And then once this is applied, we can see those finishes aligning up to the top of the roof and gives us that nice clean junction that we're looking for.